Hi again, I'm Atul from Cybersyn Academy. In the last representation, I discussed what is platform dependency in C language. In today's lecture, I'm going to talk about what is history of C language, the taxonomy in C programming, that is how C language evolved from earlier language, and then what are the features of C language. So let's discuss them one by one. First, history of C language. C language was developed by Dennis Ritchie in 1972 in Bell Laboratories. So, the Dennis Ritchie is called the founder of C language. C language was basically designed to develop Unix operating system which first implemented on DEC PDP-11 computer. There were many features in it which derived from earlier language named B language. So sequence wise it was named C language. If we talk about taxonomy of C language or evolution of C language, the first language was introduced in 1960, Algol. Algol basically the first language which works on block state concept. After this, in 1967, Martin Richards introduced a new language called BCPL, a basic combined programming language. In this language, there is no any concept of data type. After that, in 1970, Ken Thompson introduced a new language named B in Bell Laboratories. So basically, a B language introduced to design Unix operating system. In 1972, Dennis Ritchie introduced a new language after using the concept of Algol, BCPL and B, which named was C language. It was actually created to design Unix operating system. So, Unix operating system rewritten in C. First, it was written in B language, and that was known as traditional C. In 1978, Dennis Ritchie and Brian Keringhan wrote a book together named the C programming language, which became so popular, and after that, C language known as KNRC. Due to the popularity of C language, it developed very fast, and different versions of C began to come in the market, which were incompatible to each other. So, American National Standard Institute thought to standardize C language after some time, and ISO adopted this standard version of C language, and it is called ANSI C. And then after, different version of C language began to come in market, like in 1995, the new version of C language introduced with minor changes and named C95. Then after in 1999, some modification and some standardization were done, and this new version was called C99. Again in 2011, some minor changes like generic micros concept added, and that version of C language was called C11. And now the current version of C language is C18, which is basically a C11 version. Okay, and technically that version classified in 2018. So now in 2020, the new version is C18. Now let's talk about what are the features of C language. So first feature of C language is it is a high level language. So if you don't know what is a high level language, so when a language is written in English or user understandable language, that is called a high level language, and a computer does not understand that high level language directly. And the next feature of C language is it is considered as a structured programming language, because structured programming language improves the quality of codes and reduces the development time. When a software is developed, then this reduces the development time. So C language is a structured programming language. The next feature of C language is quite important because C language has its own library. Different types of functions are included which are predefined already in those libraries. And when we write any code, then we don't need to write functions. We just include the library and execute the functionality of those library. And after that, one of the most important feature of C language is it is extensible. And the high level feature of C language is recursion. So recursion is one of the most important feature of C language because it inhibits the writing of multiple time of function and syntactically it increases the code functionality and reduces the development cycle of the function. So the recursion is very important feature of C language. Also, we will discuss recursion and our upcoming lectures in detail. After that, one of the most important feature of C language is pointers. Using pointers, we can directly interact with physical memory of computer system. And the next one is faster. C language is faster language. And the last and one of the most important feature of C language is memory management. In this feature, there are a lot of concepts like different type of function which are directly and definitely interact with memory. And so it is also very important feature like function like malloc, calloc. So these are basically dynamic memory allocation functions which is used in C language. And so these are basically the features of C programming language. And also there are some features are very important which is in our C programming language. And also this is end of this lecture. And if you like the video on C programming, so please do subscribe the channel and thanks for watching.